Welcome back to the Strictly Football Podcast. I'm Kiana Bossi, joined as always by Gershom Zeller.
Hey, greetings from across the pond. Miss you.
This episode, we're going to go over everything that we've missed, go over the Super Bowl, and preview some upcoming action over the weekend. Let's get into it. All right, so we're back. Gershom, you're in Austria.
Yeah. That's a great segue into our next topic. We're back, and I'm in Austria. Yeah, but now we're ready to get back into the swing of things, start recording more often. It's really been hard for me not recording the past couple of days. Couple of weeks.
Felt a void.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely. I think now is actually a really nice time, Keon, as the anchor of the show, to tell our guests our new schedule and everything. Let them know what's going on.
Yeah, so from now on, we're only going to be releasing episode once a week, just because it's a little more difficult to calibrate our times, especially with Gersh being in Europe and I'm here in LA. We both have school to attend and we both have jobs to attend to. So we're trying to get a set time that we can record and we can set out to you guys. So we're looking to release every Wednesday, every week, once a week, and with quality content like usual as we...
Yeah, I think that's the major point as well, that forget all our excuses, honestly. It's the quality of the content. I think now the quality gets a lot better with one episode a week as well.
Exactly. We're going to be... not that we haven't been planning ahead before, but we're going to be planning ahead even further and giving you guys more content, more interesting topics, especially now that the NFL season is over. We have some new segments that we want to introduce starting next week that... would be even more interesting for the NFL fans of the show now that there's a lack of football to watch on TV.
The initial reaction of everybody, during the off season, especially for football, because it has such a big following, and especially with the fantasy community, I see it all the time on Twitter. When it's the off season, they just feel like, okay, what the hell am I going to do next? They feel like they really have this void that's not going to be filled by anything. But I'm even more excited now because this is where you really get to speculate and look back past a little bit and think about what's going to happen for next season. So I'm actually quite excited to talk about football during the offseason.
Totally, and because there's this big void just in between the Super Bowl and basically the combine and the draft,
Yeah, of course.
Because after the combine, you're talking about, who's going number one, what's the draft looking like, and then the draft, you're talking about how are the new teams looking, what can we expect. But from now until the draft, there's kind of a drought in content, and we're going to hopefully look to fill that.
I don't really look at that part of the season as the off season. I see it as preseason more, with the draft and everything, because free agents are getting signed as well. So it's really you're looking forward to the future, looking forward to the next season. But yeah, okay, all in good time. Again, we're getting ahead of ourselves, which is something we do quite often.
Yeah. But as always, our first segment of the show is the world football part, and there's been a lot going on since we've last been with you guys. I say we just kind of, if we recap everything real quick, we're not going to go over any, specific scores or specific games, but, we're just going to talk about some topics.
We should all be on the same page as to how we feel about teams as well, because... Exactly. I remember the last time we were talking about Real Madrid.
Yeah.
In the shape they're in now.
Yeah, last time I believe we were talking, we were like, maybe they're turning a new leaf. But they coughed up another lead, and then they ended up drawing, and then again and again. And now I can't even with confidence say that a Champions League spot is guaranteed for them anymore.
Well, I'm really looking forward to the episodes where we're going to start to preview the matchup between Paris Saint-Germain and Real Madrid. I'm really looking forward to that because, man, it's coming. I think it's coming. I think Paris
That's
has a
Judgment Day
legitimate
for them.
chance right
That would be Judgment Day for Real Madrid and Zinedine Zidane specifically. If
now. Man, this is something I have a problem with, though, to be honest. That his job is the focal point of the topic.
Well, let me tell you what. There's two camps inside Real Madrid fan bases. There's the camp that believes that Zinedine Zidane is, he's former player. He was loved by when he was playing, and then he wins 5 trophies in one calendar year, and he wins back-to-back Champions Leagues, and nobody's ever done that. And they love him, and we love him and everything just for what he's done and what he's been. And then people are willing to forgive this one season because of what he did in a season and a half. He won 6 trophies over a season and a half. 2 Champions Leagues, a La Liga, 2 Club World Cups, et cetera, et cetera. So he really did some great things with this team. But the other side is that maybe it was the team and any idiot could have taken over as manager and did what he did.
Comes into my next point. I was wondering, what are your thoughts on Real Madrid not bringing in any new signings during this transfer window?
I'm fine with them not bringing any new signings over the January window because it's been done. It was done before the January transfer window. To be honest with you, Barcelona had the league.
Okay.
So me and the other Madrid fans who I've spoken to in the time are okay with it. But there's some rumors surfacing. I know it's too early to talk about the summer transfer window, especially after the World Cup. You see the stocks rise and fall of a lot of players. But one certain player who I've seen his name pop up a few times is Mauro Icardi of Inter, who's having a great season right now. He has something like 21 goals in Serie A.
5 goal scorers in the 5 major leagues of Europe.
And I think he's number 2 in all of Serie A. And he's literally leading Inter. The only reason they're up in the top 3 is because of him. So, they've been looking at he's going to be their marquee signing over the summer.
Yeah, it's just kind of strange for me that in this transfer window there were so many transfers, so many major deals as well, which is kind of unusual for a January window. But Real Madrid wasn't involved in any of them. So for me, it's a bit strange.
Yeah, that is true, because usually they're the ones to splash the cash. But while we're talking about the January transfer window, a team that splashed the cash on deadline day is Arsenal, and with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang.
And it's been time, They moved on Alexis Sanchez and I think a really, really well thought out decision. The swap deal was, I think, the way that they would get the most quality from Sanchez, because if they were to sell him, they would have had to sell him at a much, much cheaper price than they would have normally. And to get a player like Mkhitaryan, and as you've already seen in his first game with the club, he had 3 assists.
Yeah,
he's really...
Yeah, he's the...
He's a
no problem. He's the...
Okay, but please, yeah.
Okay. He's performing like the Mkhitaryan of Borussia Dortmund, of the Dortmund days rather than the Man United days.
Yeah, even then he was quality. It's just he had trouble breaking into the first team squad on a regular basis. And I think that's a problem that a lot of players have under Mourinho. And Mourinho's system is not so much to benefit individual players, it's to benefit the team.
Yeah.
So win at any cost for our team. And that may come at the price of, hurting an individual player's brilliance. We've seen it with Kaká. We've seen it with Mkhitaryan, and it's been done all around Mourinho's multiple clubs that he's been to. There's these players that kind of get left out, and Mkhitaryan was one of them at Man United.
Yeah,
but and he's not even the main man that we should be talking about,
right?
Because Arsenal have always had brilliant midfielders, but they haven't had a clinical striker
recently
like Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Yeah, exactly. I think the most recent one that comes to mind is Thierry Henry.
Thierry, I was about to say the same thing.
Even took his number as well. So this is pretty exciting.
And with the signing of Aubameyang, actually, Mesut Ozil signed a contract extension as well, which is another big deal. You know?
Yeah, definitely. I think Arsenal had a huge Twitter campaign where they were just trying to let everyone know. #We have Ozil.
I think their signing reveal of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang was actually really well done. I don't know if you saw it. It's Henrik Mkhitaryan saying, "Hey, yo, Pierre, you want to come out here?"
No way.
And then it's Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, and then there's like the number and like him. It's pretty cool. So.
Wow. So they're shouting out Playboy Cardi.
Exactly. I thought it was really funny.
That's sick.
Yeah.
That's sick.
And then other signings, we talked about Coutinho previously, and we praised him for being able to fit in so well. But in a couple of Barcelona's recent games, he's kind of looked a little lost and out of position.
No, I think that actually is his position, is to be out of position alongside Messi. From what I've seen, he's trying to be the guy to play the give and goes with Messi and to be the guy who sets Messi up for the attack rather than Messi having to set other people up for a shot. And I believe personally that in the long run, Coutinho is going to fit in so well. Mm-hmm. You saw in the game over the weekend, he had a chance that hit the crossbar and it missed by an inch. Really, would have been a worldie. Would have been a beautiful goal. So, I mean, I'm really excited for the things to come. I have no worries with Coutinho. And from what I've seen, the way Barcelona's going to run their system is the same way they have been running it. However, now Coutinho is going to take responsibilities on the left side of midfield. Suarez and Messi will still remain the two strikers, and Dembele, hopefully when he gets fully healthy, will return to the right. And I think that will work really, really well. It will be an attacking four. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, and Suarez has regained his form as well. I wanted to bring that up as well, because I remember we were talking about how he's been out of form and what's been going on, and you said maybe they want to ship him off in the summer, but he's come back and he's scored a lot of goals in a lot of games.
Yeah, it would definitely be hard to do that when he's at a goal rate of two goals per game in the past 4 games.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think that it's Suarez's time to get shipped off just yet, for sure.
But it's good how he regained his form. I mean that was like the main concept, because his first half of his season was forgetful. Like he did pretty awful.
Yeah, I mean, luckily he had a certain number 10 who was able to pick up the slack.
Yeah,
and Messi was able to create quite a lot of goals in the beginning of the season, and I was quite scared at the beginning of the season. I didn't know how this team would work without Neymar.
Right.
But what happened? What I knew what would happen is Messi stepping up and Messi assuming a bigger role, and that's nothing but good stuff for Barcelona's offense. If Messi has more to do with the offense, there's more of a chance that the offense will work better. It makes sense. Simple math.
Yeah. No, I mean, anytime you have one of the greatest players of all time, it's not a bad thing.
It's all it takes. LeBron goes to Cleveland. All of a sudden, Cleveland has their first championship.
Yep.
It's quick math. It's pretty simple.
Yeah. And then I wanted to take a quick look over in the Bundesliga. James Rodriguez, former Real Madrid product, is lighting the Bundesliga up. Like, he's been insane.
I don't want to take any credit, or anything, but I just want to point out that I was bringing up this point quite a bit when he had originally made his transfer, and especially when Jupp Heynckes assumed the head coach position. James Rodriguez has been flourishing on that. It's really been impressive. Really, really been impressive. Yeah. And I just want to give a little wink to the fans and Yuki and tell you, okay, I was the one saying it first. I was the one saying that he fit in well first.
And yeah, he's been really a revelation. Like, he's gotten a second wind in his career. He's been scoring. He's been assisting so well with Lewandowski and Muller. That's what's really impressed me.
Thomas Muller, yeah.
Yeah.
him and Muller are really on like a wavelength together because Muller is quite a clinical finisher,
Right.
and he'll always be in a great position to score. And Hamas just so happens to be quite good at finding people in good positions. So it's like a symbiotic relationship between the two, and they really help each other out a lot.
Yeah, it's. I mean, that league I would say is over as well. There's. I mean, we didn't we expected at the beginning of the season to be over, and it is so. But
yeah,
I mean,
the major talking point to that is Dortmund, and okay, you can't just blame everything on Bayern dominance. You have to give blame to where it's due, And Dortmund this season have been terrible.
They've been bad. They've been like sort of like the Real Madrids of the Bundesliga.
For sure, and with less expectations as well, which makes it even worse.
But they flopped out of the Champions League.
Yes. That's why Aubameyang left. Aubameyang is not the type of caliber of player that's going to stay with a team playing in Europa League.
Yeah, and I mean Arsenal, I'm pretty sure is also playing in Europa League, but
not this season.
Okay,
and Dortmund is on the path that we don't know if they will 100% make Champions League next year.
Right.
That's for sure.
Yeah, and I wanted to actually bring something up with you about Barcelona that I just came back to my memory. Was Barcelona a few times have gone down. Like it happened just over the weekend. It happened a couple times since we've last recorded, but they fight back, and they're still, I believe they're the only team that's undefeated in their league still. And PSG's lost, Man City's in the league. Barcelona's lost in Copa del Rey, I believe. They lost one game.
Yeah, it's Espanyol.
Right. But in the league, they're still undefeated. But there are kind of, you see chinks in the armor. You know what I'm saying? There are times.
I want to disagree. I think that even them being able to go down and come back is a testament.
No, yeah, totally. But I agree with that 100%. But I'm saying it kind of shows that they've gotten a few draws, here and there, and especially recently they've gotten a couple, I believe, in the last month. And it's just showing that they're kind of mortal as well. You know what I'm saying?
I personally think that's been the case with every Barcelona side. When Barcelona had that run of dominance in 2010-2011, where Guardiola was the coach, and we won every trophy that there was or Barcelona won every trophy that there was to. But was chinks in armor, and there still was problems with the defense, and was certain players too small or to defend set pieces, or were our fullbacks not coming back enough to defend, and there were these little problems, and you still see little problems, of course, right now, especially that Umtiti, the starting center back for Barcelona, has been injured. You see little problems in the defense, and you see little problems more so this season than ever, or more so this season than most seasons in the attack, because when Messi isn't there, or when Messi isn't creating the plays, you have players who aren't on the same level of quality that Barcelona fans have been used to. So, I mean, with Neymar leaving, that left a big hole. But as I said, Messi came in and assumed so much more responsibility. And, I mean, we saw it over the weekend. Barcelona went 1-0 down. Messi wasn't on the field. They put him on right after halftime. The game changed. I mean, also, again, it needs to be brought up that this weekend's game, there was, especially for Barcelona, a bit of a difficulty to play in the conditions because the pitch was so wet and so damp that the ball couldn't really be passed more than 5 meters fluidly. And that's a real problem with Barcelona because they're obviously playing short passes to each other all the time. Right.
But, I mean, aren't both teams playing on the same field?
No, of course. But Barcelona's play style, especially, that's really all I'm trying to say is that how often do you see over-the-top balls from Barcelona unless it's coming after 50 short passes between the midfield and the defense, and then finally when it gets to Messi, you'll see an over-the-top ball.
Okay, I got what you're saying now. I mean, now we can, I guess, look forward to some games that are upcoming this weekend that you guys might want to look at. There's one main one we wanted to show to you guys. The rest of the games are pretty mediocre. Follow your own teams. But the main game we wanted to talk to you guys about was Tottenham versus Arsenal, the North London derby.
Yeah, really looking forward to this one. Tottenham also had a pretty decisive win over the weekend as well. And now that Arsenal is heading into this game.
Actually, I just wanted to correct you. Tottenham didn't win over the weekend. They drew 2-2 with Liverpool.
Liverpool. Okay.
It was actually it was. And
they had that 90th minute equalizer with Harry Kane, of course.
It was an insane game. I watched. I have to be honest. I watched the last 20 minutes of that game only, but which was 1-0 to Liverpool. Then the last 20 minutes were just absolutely wild. Then Victor Wanyama comes on as a sub, and then within 5 minutes, his second touch of the game, he bangs an absolute rocket. This ball could not be stopped. If you put your hand in front of the ball, that your hand was broke. It was insane. And he hit it so hard that Karius, the goalkeeper for Liverpool, it was so fast that he jumped after the ball was in the net.
Man, yeah.
So yeah, and that was a great goal. And then 2 minutes later, Tottenham awarded a penalty kick.
Okay.
And Harry Kane hits it right at Karius, straight at him. And then 90th minute, stoppage time, 91st minute, Mo Salah, and we've been saying his name a lot, comes in with some dribbling moves that I could only say only Messi can do. Around 4 people, quick feet, and then slots it, chips it right over Lloris. Very Messi-esque. And then 93rd minute out of 94, with the stoppage time, Tottenham are awarded a penalty again, and this time Harry Kane doesn't make a mistake. So that was an insane, from the 80th minute to the 94th minute was just really intense football, but it ended as a draw. But
and I mean, before that, Tottenham had been quite disappointing in their previous games. That's something we would have definitely have spoken about in the past, 2 episodes that we missed. It's Tottenham's form has really been declining. So if I had to give a prediction for this weekend's upcoming match, I'd say that Arsenal is definitely going to come through with a win.
Yeah, because they're in form and they have a lot of hype around. I mean, Tottenham also signed Lucas Moura from PSG.
Yeah,
and he's set to make his debut just now on over the weekend. He didn't make his. He didn't play against Liverpool.
So he may even be playing as we speak.
Oh,
no, he's on the bench again. He's on the bench versus Newport County. Newport County
an FA Cup game? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, now the way that our time zones are working, we can actually call each other during matches at times. So that's quite,
especially during the Champions League.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe we can give little live updates during the game. As we're speaking on our podcast.
That would, I mean, that would be a good idea. And then that's basically the only game for this weekend. Was there anything else, Gershom, you wanted to add that we missed over our sabbatical to say?
I think we should as well talk about Alexis Sanchez moving to Manchester United and what that means for them, because their attack is really, really something else now with all the firepower they have.
Yeah,
they have. That was always something that we were always able to bash Manchester United and especially Jose Mourinho for. Yeah. Was that the defense looked so good, but the attacking presence was not there. And with such a hard worker like Alexis Sanchez, I have to think that that's going to change.
Yeah.
Because there's no way he lets that offense be boring or he lets that offense be placid. He's going to make sure that they're always working hard and they're always trying to get into the dangerous positions.
Totally. And then another thing to add to that, Alexis Sanchez's arrival kind of opened the window for Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and there's a lot of rumors, I'm here in LA, that he's likely going to come over to the Los Angeles Galaxy in MLS.
That would be great for MLS. It's actually beneficial for the U.S. soccer leagues when a major European star comes, because, I mean, you see that they inspire the next generation of players coming from the U.S. And if you look at the numbers, this whole conversation came up when David Beckham initially came to the MLS, and people started having a problem when a bunch of other European older stars started retiring in the MLS. However, ever since then, the MLS has only grown as a league and has only produced even more and more American homegrown players of much higher quality than they've ever.
Totally. I think that without David Beckham, U.S. soccer as a whole, and certainly MLS, wouldn't be where it is today. I think MLS is, I'm not saying it's, top, not even anywhere close to the top 7 leagues in the world, but it's a lot better than it was. Like, miles and miles better than what it was before David Beckham got here. Like,
Atlanta had the record-breaking signing as well.
Right. Atlanta also had the record attendance for an MLS game in the new Mercedes-Benz Stadium. They had a 70,000 attendance. Imagine that. For a Major League Soccer game in the United States, Atlanta United had 70,000 spectators.
Yeah, I mean, that's something we never would have thought possible back in 2008.
Yeah.
And now look how far we've progressed. So, I mean, all credit goes towards the program as well. So, I'm really not surprised. Major League Soccer has done a great job with promoting the sport, and I think it's only going to grow from here. Yeah. We'll see. Maybe it reaches a higher level.
I mean, we certainly hope so. I'm as fans of football in the United States, I really hope that our league and right here it can begin to gain some respect from other federations and other leagues. Hopefully, I'm not saying maybe in the 2020s we can see where we're at.
Yeah. But if not, forget them. Why would we even need them? We're kind of doing our own thing in America.
Yeah, and then actually speaking of American leagues and United States Federation, there's a presidential election for the United States Federation president coming up
this is really important.
In a few days. It's very important right now. The front runner is Eric Winalda, former player. Yeah, which is what's really important. There's 2 former players running, and they're both the front runners. I think that the people from the federation, the people voting, want someone who knows about the system and who can improve the system because they went through it. Yeah. And I think that's very important. It's Eric Winalda and Kyle Martino are the 2 front runners. Both of them played in MLS. Both of them played for the national team. And one main thing that they're both supporter of, and what I think is very important in the United States leagues, is the promotion relegation system. I think that a promotion relegation system should be added into the USL, which is the second division of soccer in the United States, and the MLS, which is obviously the first division, because it breeds competition.
Yeah, definitely. And it gives you something to fight for. You need to have these relegation battles, and you need to have these promotion battles. It's something so important to the game of football.
It's not only is it good for the fans. Yeah, it's good for the fans, and it's great for competition.
Yeah, and I think what I've experienced, at least from the games I've gone to of lower league sides in Europe, the fans are much nicer at a lower league side game because there's much less at stake, so you can really have a nice time out, going out for a game.
And lower league teams are more local than higher league teams. Like a team
there's a more connection, a community bond.
Exactly, well. And I think that could work to growing the game out. Like you would think a team like in Los Angeles, LA, you have the 2 teams, LA Galaxy and LAFC. But then outside of LA, you got like Orange County, you got Anaheim. These they're not represented in professional soccer. But if you add a second division team there, you start
making multiple leagues. Yeah, definitely.
I'm only saying California, Southern California, because that's where we're from. But I mean, obviously, this is all over the country where you have major cities and smaller subsects of them around.
Yeah, I mean, California is a good example because the populations are generally high, and you still need, not to get too semantical about it, but you still need higher populations.
Yeah.
These lower league teams as well, you need people to attend.
To come to games, to, pay for the tickets, exactly, yeah. But that's basically all really we have for this segment. And you want to talk about the Super?
We have so much more to talk about. We really need to get into more next week. Wow.
Yeah, there's so much we missed, and there's so much coming up. I mean, it's the World Cup is this year. Like we're gonna have so much to talk about. You know,
for sure.
Previewing even more with the World Cup, and you know, Champions League starts in a couple weeks, all that stuff. So we're gonna have plenty of content for world soccer, world football. But for now, there's a pretty big NFL game on Sunday.
Yeah, I think so. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so the Philadelphia Eagles got their first Super Bowl victory over the evil empire of the New England Patriots.
I mean, wow, what a game. What a game. Forget, honestly, for a second who won, who lost. What a game. We were, like, really treated with a great match, honestly. I need to stop myself from becoming too passionate because that was amazing. I had to wake up at 4 a.m. to watch it, but it was worth it, you know? I'm so happy I ended up watching that game because, geez, it was amazing. 1,200 yards total offense, or almost 1,200 yards total offense. Incredible.
It was the record for the most total offense in any NFL game. Postseason. I mean, postseason game. Any NFL post.
Exactly. It's a game. But, yeah. And especially to be in the Super Bowl as well. We've been treated. So what are your thoughts?
I just want to just continue on how great of a game it was for a sec. I think this is exactly what the NFL needed, especially with all the ratings going down and games being boring so people aren't watching because games are boring and they're taking too long and they're too one-sided, stuff like that. This was insane. And I was speaking to some of my friends on the last play of the game, the Hail Mary that Tom Brady threw. Even though the Philadelphia Eagles were up by 8 points at the time, you were still worried. I'm not an Eagles fan, but I wanted the Eagles to win. Eagles fans were still worried that they were going to lose solely because Tom Brady was throwing the football.
Yeah. I mean, from 28-3 last year for the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, to lose that big of a deficit in the final match it's a testament to Brady, obviously, and that's when people really were able to brand him as the greatest football player of all time. So yeah, when you're playing against the greatest football player of all time and you're down by a score where he can come back, especially when it's only by 8, I'd be scared as well. But no, the Philadelphia Eagles, you know, as great as their offense was, and we need to get into that, their defense though.
I mean, that strip sack against Tom Brady, essentially, if you want to choose one play that ended the game, that was the play.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, they set the tone defensively in that whole entire game. They came in, they wanted to bring physicality. They came in, they wanted to look the Patriots right in the eye. You know, they didn't want to.
They weren't scared.
Unequals. Yeah, exactly. And that's how they played every game in the postseason. Seriously, every game they were the underdog.
Every game since they lost Carson Wentz, even in the regular season.
Well, that brings up a man who's pretty important to their win, you know?
Yep.
Nick Foles. Nick Foles really did a lot for them. Ever since Carson went out.
Yeah, he was incredible. He even had a receiving touchdown, you know, he did it all.
That was kind of just like a middle finger to the Patriots. Like, look at this. We got Nick Foles, and he's out here throwing and catching touchdowns.
And this was funny because I think on a few drives earlier, Tom Brady, they ran the exact same play, and Tom Brady bobbled the catch and dropped it. But it was for first down, not a touchdown. But I mean, Nick Foles, backup. I mean, this year has been the year of the backup QB.
And credit the coach as well to even go for it on fourth and goal.
It was actually his call. Like, the NFL released the mic'd up of the game, and you hear Nick Foles saying, "I want to run this play. Trust me, it's fourth down. Get it to me."
Awesome. No, really, that shows some confidence, and that brings up the point as to why a lot of the rumors are now that Nick Foles will be traded. Because he has quite a lot of value. Because, I mean, I'll tell you how I feel about this, but first I have to give the news that it's somebody who has the ability to win a Super Bowl against Tom Brady is a highly wanted commodity in the NFL.
100%.
So Nick Foles, if right now there's no news as to whether Philadelphia is shopping for offers or if Nick Foles wants to leave. But the rational thought process of a lot of pundits is that Philadelphia will most likely be offered a lot for Nick Foles. And at what point is it too much for them to decline a trade offer?
I think
because
the
Cleveland Browns offer up one of their first-round picks for Nick Foles.
That's what I was going to say.
I don't see the Eagles saying no.
Yeah.
A fourth or first round or the first pick, the fourth or the first pick.
Yeah.
Why not?
But I don't see the Cleveland Browns giving away because you got few very good quarterbacks in this class. It's.
I agree. This is all old talk, but I mean,
right. But
what would you say to it? Honestly, if you were the Philadelphia Eagles and you had a chance, the choice,
I would take Carson Wentz. I mean, I would stay with obviously my franchise quarterback who's established.
That's without saying. But I mean, it's pretty.
If the Cleveland Browns came knocking and
quarterback job is really important in my opinion for exactly the reason that we saw this year.
Yeah,
Carson Wentz went down, and the team did not suffer. They still won the Super Bowl because they had a quality backup.
Yeah, and it didn't go so well in other teams like the Houston Texans, where their franchise quarterback Deshaun Watson went down with the same injury, and they flopped. Like, they were arguably one of the worst teams in the league after that.
Yeah, and like that's the way it goes. If you don't spend enough time into preparing your backup quarterback to just step into the shoes, because this is football, anything can happen, and injuries happen. And especially injuries towards the back of the season, it's more likely due to the wear and tear. It just so happened that all these things that I've been saying that's more likely to happened to the Philadelphia Eagles, but they were prepared. And they still won their championship because they didn't sacrifice their backup quarterback position. They made sure they had the guy.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they can give that up because who's to say it doesn't happen next year, but the year after that, you can never say.
Yeah. God forbid. But I don't think Nick Foles, after he sees himself winning, he's a Super Bowl MVP, he's a Super Bowl champion. I don't think that he's like, hey, I don't want to sit around and be a backup here. I want to go somewhere where I can play.
And let's be honest, do you think he even is worth a first-round pick? In your opinion?
I don't think so. I personally,
it's hard for me. It's hard for me to say.
So if like you said, if the Cleveland Browns came knocking and giving one of their first round picks to the Philadelphia Eagles for Nick Foles, I would accept that close to immediately.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, because there's so many positions that if they just tinkered with, their team would look so amazing with Carson under center and their amazing offensive line, which I also have to give credit for this game. I mean, LeGarrette Blount came out and got 90 yards and a touchdown against the team that let him go.
Yep.
Just let him walk. He took it back to them.
Yeah, same with Chris Long on the other side of the field. He was also with the Patriots last year, and he came back and beat them this year.
Oh, nice. Okay. So I mean, sure, the Patriots are actually one team that are really prone to doing this, letting players go whenever they feel as if they're not at the quality that the Patriots should be. It's something that they're really used to doing. So, I mean, nobody is safe. So for those guys that got let go, they take they take it personally. They take that personal vendetta. And you can see it on LeGarrette Blount's face. I mean, that's awesome as well, for him to get 2 Super Bowls back-to-back. Incredible.
Yeah, and then you got players like Alshon Jeffrey, who had a great game. You had guys like Jay Ajayi, who had a great game. It was Fletcher Cox had a great game. It was overall.
Zach Ertz, of course.
Zach Ertz had a phenomenal game. It was a great team performance by these Philadelphia Eagles, and I think the Patriots were more the Brady wagon. It wasn't so much of a team effort as I think it was on the Eagles side.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying, but that's only because it's such an important game. And Bill Belichick knows who he can trust.
Yeah.
He wants the ball in Brady's hands. He wants Brady making plays. He doesn't want, as messed up as it may sound, he doesn't want anyone else to be whatever. He doesn't. It's not like he doesn't want them to make plays, but he doesn't trust them as much as he trusts Brady. Is really what I'm trying to say.
And speaking of Bill Belichick, going into the future, his coaching staff and the Patriots coaching staff is, there's some weird things going on. Matt Patricia, their defensive coordinator, was announced as the Detroit Lions head coach.
Yeah, we've known about this for some time now. I mean, but like that's just because he's so talented. I don't think it has anything to do with problems in the locker room.
Right, no, which is not what I'm saying. But then you have Josh McDaniels, their offensive coordinator, who was offered the head coaching position by the Indianapolis Colts, accepted the head coaching position, and was announced as the head coach. Then 2 hours later, comes out and declines the head coaching.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard about this as well, yeah.
Which is very weird,
It is.
It's a lot of people are giving him a lot of backlash because of this, calling him a snake. The GM of the Indianapolis Colts said that the Colts-Patriots rivalry is back on. Their fans in Indianapolis are furious over this, and it's not that great of a look on the Patriots' part. Like, what went down, Like, was there confusion? Is there something we don't know? Is maybe Josh McDaniels the heir to Bill Belichick? Is he the promise? Did they promise him, hey, Bill Belichick is leaving soon, maybe not next year or the season after that, but you're his successor. We've established that.
So your thought process is that there was some tampering done by the Patriots organization to keep Josh McDaniels.
Yes, which is nothing new. Patriots organization has done a lot of. Doesn't surprise me. They've.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason you call them the evil empire. It's not just because they're winning.
Yeah, no, like they've spied on opponents. They've deflated game balls. They're not that. They do anything they can to win, even though it's sometimes against the rules. And this is what I'm looking at it as. That maybe he was promised the head coach job at New England once Bill Belichick is done.
I mean, do you see that happening anytime soon, honestly?
I say Belichick goes when Brady goes.
Okay.
I think they want to end it together. And Brady, I think he'll come back next season, but by the end of next season he'll be 42. That's old, man.
That's about time to call it quits. I think he thinks that he has one more ring left in it. That's how I feel. I think that he thinks next year he has a chance to make it a third Super Bowl appearance in a row.
Yeah, and I wouldn't bet against them right now. I believe they still are like the favorites or second favorites to win the Super Bowl.
I mean, this is a point I want to bring up as well. I brought this up, our page, or Twitter page, I had this brought up.
You want to plug that real quick first of all,
Yeah, sure. Follow us. We've made a new account for our Strictly Football, podcast page. I think this page is a little bit better than our personal podcast pages. It's under the name Strictly Football Podcast, but our @ is @Podcast Strictly. So follow @Podcast Strictly for Strictly Football Podcast. It's a total tongue twister, but whatever.
I'll put the @ in the description.
Follow Strictly Football Podcast.
There you go.
Yeah,
get it, guys. Yeah, that's the best place you could get our banter, latest updates on schedule of our podcast, anything you need, or you could even DM us and we could have a conversation about football. Yeah, honestly. But going back, you wanted to talk about
anything. Honestly,
you wanted to talk about the odds.
Yes, ESPN and NFL Network have already released power rankings for next season, and there's no point. Honestly, you can't say sense. Anything about next season right now.
You look at so many of the teams. Did anybody expect the Eagles to be number one? Did anybody expect the Rams, the Saints, the Vikings? These guys were all in the 20 below when the season started.
I mean, not all of them, but yeah, exactly. I feel what you're saying 100% because you'll never know what happens, not only as to which players they sign, but how players perform in the season. I mean, it's more of a group thing in football than an individual thing.
Yep.
You know, if a group is doing well, the individuals shine a little bit brighter. But for individuals to even shine in the first place, the group has to be compact and the group has to be doing well as a unit. I mean, that's why the Rams' defense was so amazing. It was a unit. And Aaron Donald just so happened to shine through the unit. But the whole team was working together.
Speaking of individual performances over the season, we did have the NFL honors over on Saturday before the Super Bowl. Tom Brady won MVP. Expected?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. That's what we were predicting would happen last time we left you guys. And yeah, of course it's come true. You know, he deserves it.
Yeah.
He had a season of players who didn't get injured.
Right.
Deshaun Watson and Carson Wentz both probably would have had a shot at that award as well if they had stayed healthy.
If they stayed healthy, I would say Carson Wentz probably would have the best shot, but
I mean, Deshaun Watson got injured pretty quickly, man. He was looking.
That's
really
what I was
hot.
gonna say. Yeah, it's one of those you really can't say what would have happened. But besides that, the Saints sweep the Rookie of the Years.
Yeah, that was interesting to see.
And Alvin Kamara
as well,
and Marshawn Lattimore.
Yeah, extremely well deserved. I mean, they had even a couple other players who were nominees.
Right.
Their rookie class was that good this year that I think it's going to take them a long way, especially now they have to start looking to the future with Drew Brees eventually retiring in the next 2 years. 100%, he will be retiring. Yeah. So they really need a strong foundation all across.
Yeah, and then the big winners. I mean, I'm not saying this only because we're fans of the team, but the Rams got 3 awards. You know, they got. Aaron Donald won the Defensive Player of the Year. Todd Gurley won the Offensive Player of the Year. And Sean McVay got the Coach of the Year. That's not too bad for a team that's supposed to be in rebuilding, you know?
You know, it's really prestigious honors. Yeah. They got 3 of the most prestigious honors, barring the MVP trophy. So, yeah, that's looking amazing. That's looking amazing for our organization. Sean McVay, his first year coaching, first year as a head coach.
He's 32 years old right now. Like, he was 31 during the season. Like, that's ridiculous, right?
Yeah, it's a fairy tale, honestly. I mean, as a Rams fan, I couldn't be happier because, you know, the future will only get better. And there's still, you know, as much as people love to praise Jared Goff, there still are problems with his game.
Yeah.
He still has points where you know he can improve. Yeah. And as he improves, the team will improve. You know what I mean? And
it's a young core. I believe it's the second youngest team in the whole NFL. So the future's bright for the Rams, especially, you know, including their coach and Aaron Donald, who's just a monster.
See, I mean, I'm just scared if he pulls any more stunts because he's been known to be someone who really, if he doesn't get what he wants, he's going to make it a problem. Yeah. So when he's had contract problems in the past, he's threatened to leave the team. But I mean, I don't see that happening.
I think that once Sean McVay's here and he's a defensive player of the year, like, you have to pay the man. Like, give him what he like. The Rams have, I think, the 3rd most salary room in their salary cap. They have so much room to spend. So
yeah, I mean, that's why they were able to sign Sammy Watkins, no problem.
Yeah.
Put him on the payroll and don't even use him. I mean, obviously he was utilized this year, but not to the extent that Sammy Watkins has been used to being utilized. Yeah. So it is quite crazy to see. Yeah.
Yeah. And Watkins has also commented that he loves it here in LA and he wants to re-sign if the option comes up for him.
I hope it does. He's an amazing player, and I feel like he has so much more to offer to the team than what we've seen. This just all has to do with the plays that are designed for him. He needs plays designed for him.
Right. He also came kind of late in the preseason, so it took him a little while. Or I think they had already designed all the plays before, so he wasn't on the team. So I feel like if he does re-sign, next season will hopefully be better for him since he's already been here a year. Goff is used to him. McVay knows him. Stuff like that.
And we can't forget either, and we cannot not mention that he's coming off a major injury.
Right.
So it would be really scary to eventually find out that that's the reason why we're seeing a different Sammy Watkins than what we're used to.
Right.
Because I really feel as he hasn't played at the level he can play.
Yeah.
At least this season, I think it was quite disappointing because I've seen him change games single-handedly.
Oh yeah. And then
he's an amazing talent.
Yeah. And I wanted to look over at another very young team that shows a lot of potential for next season, the San Francisco 49ers.
It's too early. It's too early because, I mean, I personally don't even think they're going to make it to the playoffs next year.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, but, I mean, they won their 5 games with Jimmy Garoppolo, who's, I mean, their franchise quarterback now. So,
and that was impressive, and hopefully they give – I mean, that's the most we can hope for any NFL team. Hopefully they put up a fight in whatever matchup they're playing. Any given Sunday, hopefully they put up a fight. So I think we're definitely going to see that from the 49ers. And, that's something to be excited for. At the very least, they're going to put up a fight every week.
Yeah. And that pretty much concludes our podcast. Thank you guys for coming and joining us again. Sorry for the long absence, but we're back, and we're really excited to be back.
Glad to be back.
Yeah, exactly. And, like we said, you guys should follow us on our Twitter. I'll put that in the description, down below.
At Strictly Podcast.
There you go. At Strictly Podcast.
At Strictly Podcast.
There you go. And, catch us next Wednesday where we'll have plenty of more. We'll have Champions League previews. We'll have new segments about NFL and a whole bunch of stuff recovering over the weekend, depending on what happens.
Okay, my brain's a little fried. At Podcast Strictly.
At Podcast Strictly. I'll make sure to put the right link down in the description so you guys can follow it, and so you'll know exactly if there's any delays or when a new episode's up, or if the new episode's up earlier than expected, anything. Just check us out there, and we'll be back next Wednesday. Check us out then, guys. Thanks for listening.